Hey, 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 everybody. Can I hit record real quick? Hello, my friends. We have made it. It is day 5 of the Creating Lasting Change workshop. I am just so honored and so grateful and so excited for being able to be of service to others in this way. Just reflecting on the last 4 days and reflecting what I was able to offer, reflecting on your comments, reflecting on the messages that you all have sent me on the back end. Hey, Crystal, reflecting on the impact that these classes have made in people's lives and what you've gotten out of it. And this is totally just the beginning. And it's just the beginning because A, I have so much more planned for this community. B, I have such a fun announcement today about how to not do hard things alone. And that's today's whole class. It's really going to be more of a chat. My client Crystal is here. Jen is going to join us in 10-15 minutes or so. And we're really going to talk about the impact of this work in their lives, what we have achieved, what we have accomplished. And what I really want to start off with today is really talking about my own life, right? Like bringing this back full circle, why I'm so passionate about this work, why I'm so passionate about helping others, why I'm so passionate about creating safe places and containers and doing this type of teaching in spaces to help people truly thrive. And the truth is for 15 years of my life, even more so a little bit, I struggled with severe depression. I struggled with addiction. I struggled with the feeling of loneliness. I struggled with this idea that I cannot and I will not be able to change. And I knew that deep in my soul and my heart that there was a better life available to me. And yet, from my thoughts to the feelings I experienced in my body to the circumstances that I actually witnessed in my life, I couldn't seem to figure it out. And like I mentioned on day 1, I went through so many different phases. I struggled with addiction, right? But I tried to cure it with religion and I saw healers and I went to therapy and there were so many different things that I tried and it felt like nothing was ever going to help me, like nothing was ever going to work for me. And I am so grateful that I did not give up on myself, because knowing what that experience is like, knowing what those feelings are like, knowing what that state of mind is like, it was literally the most excruciating pain I ever experienced in my life. Emotional, right? I've broken bones. I've been hurt in other ways before physically, but that type of emotional tug of war, that type of emotional pain is really, it is so debilitating and so numbing and just it really is agony. And having been there, knowing that side of life, knowing that feeling right inside, it is literally my mission in life to make sure that other people know that there is a way out, that life does not have to be that way, that we truly can live a life of purpose, of passion, that we truly can live a life where we're feeling inspired, where we're feeling excited, where we're feeling grateful, where we're feeling our best, where we're showing up to life as our own best friend, where we feel sufficient and worthy and enough, where we truly believe in ourselves. There is a life where we can set goals and actually achieve them and accomplish that what we're meant to do and move through failure. There's a life available to us where we start learning and knowing and being able to be present with and navigate the totality of our emotions. And for me, this change occurred when I stepped into coaching containers, when I hired my own coach. And the reason why I truly believe that coaching is such a powerful tool is the difference between therapy and coaching, and why I believe therapy didn't work for me, is they answer two very different questions. And of course, there's some overlap, but in therapy, most of the work that I was doing was figuring out the why. Why am I sad? Why am I frustrated? What is it about my history? What is it about my family? Where is the pain coming from? And it was answering this question, why, over and over and over again. And when we're looking at the why over and over again, which by the way is such a needed process, it takes an unveiling, it takes a looking at and having awareness of and being able to look within ourselves. An understanding of why is this happening to me is so important. But when we just stay in that why, it's almost like we're bringing back those stories again and again. Oh, why this happens, therefore that must be. This is just kind of my life. And that's the feeling that I got from therapy. When I looked to healers, I felt like someone outside of me was my guru, my hero. They could fix me, they could heal me, they could help me. When I looked to religion, it was something that was outside of me. If only I will be religious, if only I could find this connection with God, then God will help me. Right? Have you ever heard that story of a man who's stuck on a deserted island and he's praying to God and he says, "Dear God, help me get off this island. Please help me get off this island." And all of a sudden, a kayaker comes by and he's like, "Hey, dude, what are you doing on the island?" And the guy is like, "I'm stuck." And the kayaker's like, "Jump on, let's go. I've got you. I can get you off of here." And the kayaker is like, "No, no, 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 no. I've prayed to God. God is coming. God will save me. God will rescue me." Kayaker's like, "Okay." And then the guy keeps praying, "God, please help me get off this deserted island." And all of a sudden, a big ship comes by and they honk at him and they're like, "Hey, get on. We can get you off. This island has nothing around for days." And the guy's like, "No, no, 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 no. I prayed to God. God will come. God will save me. God will help me." And the ship is like, "Okay, no problem," and keeps on going. And all of a sudden, this happens, hey, Jen, over and over again. An airplane comes by, same story. And finally, the gentleman passes away, unfortunately. He doesn't have any food. He can't help himself off of the deserted island. And he gets to heaven and he says, "God, I prayed. Why didn't you help me?" And God says, "I sent you a ship. I sent you a kayaker. I sent you an airplane. I did all the things. I tried to help you. Why didn't you get on?" And that's what I was looking for. I was looking for this magic solution rather than, like we discussed yesterday, what do I intend to do? What am I doing to help myself? And if you're joining this challenge, if you've been called to have a connection with me, if you resonate with what I have been saying, then there's a reason. There's a reason that I have come into your life right now. If you're watching these replays, there's a reason that you were curious about me, about this work. And could it be that this is your moment? That this is your kayak, that this is your airplane, that this is your boat? But you are going to have to take that step. And the questions that coaching answered for me, the direction that coaching led me into versus therapy, is answering the question of what and how. So not why am I stuck in the pattern that I'm stuck in, not why did all of these things happen to me, not why am I doomed for life and this is my story, but what and how am I going, what am I going to do to get out of it? And how does that look? And working with a coach, working with someone individually, one-on-one, was this safe, sacred space for me where I didn't any longer have to do these hard things alone, where I had support, where I had someone helping me figure out what are my next steps? How am I going to get myself out of this? And I think this is a huge focus and emphasis of coaching. The coach is not your hero. The coach is not your savior. The coach is not someone that's going to magically fix or transform anything for you. Rather, the coach is on the sidelines while you're in the arena, you're in the game, cheering you on, saying, hey, try to catch the ball this way next time. You were almost there. Hey, I got you. It's not a problem. If you don't believe in yourself, if you feel tired, I'm going to cheer you on and let's go. I'm going to believe in you before you're ready to believe in yourself. Hey, I know you're feeling a little deflated, but I see how valuable and how worthy you are. I know you can win this game. I know you've got this. That's the coach's job. The coach's job is to amp you up, to pep you up, to help you figure out your own next steps. And this is the work that I really truly do with my clients one-on-one. And I'm so grateful. Jen and Crystal are here. Crystal, if you feel like it, feel free, turn on your video. The three of us are going to jam out a little bit, and we are going to talk about the work that we're doing together. And then in just a little bit, I have an announcement, for both of you. I kind of hinted at it already to both of you in our one-on-one calls, but also for this community. And it's something that I've never done in my business before. And I really, truly feel like it's the next step. And I'm just so excited to announce it. But yeah, Crystal, Jen, y'all want to introduce yourselves?
I can go first if Jen doesn't mind.
Oh, you know what? Hold on one second. I'm trying to think. I didn't think this through all the way. Basically, I have my computer on silent because then the stream from Facebook, let me see if I can switch off the sound for Facebook so that I can actually hear you through all the way. Basically, okay. Crystal, say something.
Testing.
I figured it out. Okay, cool. Then I don't have to, it's like a little bit of a delayed response. And so, yeah, that would have been funny. Okay, Crystal, who are you? What are you? What do you do? Tell us all the things.
Yeah, so my name is Crystal. And what do I do? I'm a digital marketer for a living. And I've been doing that for almost 8 years. And that job is very mentally and emotionally taxing. Just about, every single day, because the internet never sleeps. So that's one of the things I do. I started this journey with Yana, I want to say about last year in October. And I had really had gone through a whirlwind, life altering changes, and it's really kind of funny. I went through a divorce and a really, bad relationship for well over a decade. And I started this journey because I was living my life for somebody else. And that broke me in a sense. And I allowed all of these things to happen. For a very long time, I blamed that person and didn't take much responsibility and accountability for some things. So when I started out this journey before meeting Yana, I was well on my way of, needing more, finding some answers for myself. I wasn't very happy, and, just a lot of negativity in my life. And I needed to retrain my brain. And so how could I do that? I couldn't do it on my own. I had been trying for several months. And, one afternoon, I decided to join a group that Yana was a part of and met her paddling through a few friends that I had kind of gotten to know. And the funny thing is I actually have a medium that told me that I would meet somebody and that I needed to try a new, different type of therapy, not a psychiatrist, not a psychologist, something different, like a life coach. And I shit you not, I meet Yana not too long after that and was like, there it is. And so I contacted her and, we started, talking about what was going on in my life and this and that and got that ball rolling. And I knew it was really important for me to live a happier and healthy life, mentally and emotionally, and to be in a better place, was to do this with her. And it was hard, for a few months doing the hard stuff, looking at myself within. I didn't like it very much. I didn't look forward to some of those sessions. And but I'm the kind of person that does the hard work, period, regardless. And I have noticed ever since I've leaned into those emotions, I needed to grow emotionally more. I stopped at some point several years back. And again, it was because I was just living a life for someone else and I became numb and just I was not present, not for any of it. And I woke. Yana woke something up in me. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And I started yearning for more of that. And it's not only just with, her guidance and her life experiences. It was also with, hey, but Crystal, what does that say about you though? Why is that triggering you? Dig deep. And I'm like, I don't know. And the great thing about these sessions and holding the spaces, yeah, I don't know doesn't work for me. So find that answer, search for that deep down inside. And I've been doing that ever since. And I can tell you every single thing now that comes to me in life, I have this whole mindset of, well, wait a second, have you looked at that within yourself? What is that saying about you? And I've been better for it ever since. And I've been a lot happier, and decisions and confrontations or sitting with those emotions have come easier. I've leaned into that, and I'm not doing it alone anymore. And it's been the best thing for me. I'm just the happiest. And I want to share all of this with everybody. The energy, the aura, it just now just goes out everywhere. I can feel that. And I've learned to be more in tune with my body when I'm feeling that anxiety, when I'm not confident in myself, starting to learn to have my own back. You can be so confident in certain aspects of your life, like your job, and then, but personally, you're not. And, so you gotta have that. You really gotta have that. I sleep better at night. I'm getting centered. That's what it's all taught me. And I'm grateful for it, and I'm better for it. And I will continue to, and I will practice over and over and over all the time. Got to stick with it. Yeah. That's been my experience. That's what I've been through. Yeah. That's where I'm at.
Thank you so much for that intro. And I've got some questions for both of you all, kind of one-on-one, or we'll talk about it as a group. But Jen, go ahead and introduce yourself and kind of, yeah, Crystal did great. You get the vibe. Let me know what's going on with you. Who are you? Why are you here?
Well, first off, Crystal, it's nice to meet you. And it's really nice to hear about your experience with Yana. Very cool. I feel like we should definitely be connected, just because a lot of that resonated with me in terms of just the way you described your experience with her. And yeah, so I am Jen. I have been working with Yana since 11/11. That was our start date. I remember that very specifically. And I'm not even a numbers person, but I remember that. And gosh, I just knew I wanted to work with Yana, like after the first time I spoke with her. There was just something so authentic and something so genuine that I was really drawn to. Her energy, the way she carried herself. It was like I saw this person and this energy, and it was like almost I recognized it within myself. Like I saw Yana as like, yeah, that's what I want to grow into. I want to be that comfortable. I want to be that joyful. I want to have that same like loving energy that just pours out of her. And I know that that's within me. And so that to me was one of the biggest things, was that I saw within Yana something I recognized lived within me. And I believed that once, especially once I heard her story about how she hasn't always been who she is today, that she's had her own transformation, that to me was like, okay, this person is going to be able to help me develop in the same manner as she's already experienced it for herself. So at the time, I was in a job that was nothing that I was passionate about, nothing that lit me up, nothing that really I felt was anything that was aligned with me. And I had been there for almost 4 years, and I knew that I wanted to make a move. And I had recently started stepping into some stuff where I started sharing more of who I was and started, having a little more courage to express myself and put myself out there outside of work. But the work piece was a really big piece. And I made the commitment to work with Yana, knowing like I'm going to leave this job while I'm working with her. I just knew it. I knew it was going to happen. There was just no way that I was not going to. It was just done. As soon as I made the commitment to work with her, I knew I'm getting out of this job. So that was super exciting. It's funny, I don't even really know how I just knew that. I just did. I just knew that. And so I was planning on leaving, but I was planning on doing it in a very like strategic way where, I had something else lined up, and the universe was just like, nah, we're going to kick you out of this job. You don't need to go through all that. And so I lost my job. And I remember just having this magical moment where, I've lost many jobs, to be honest with you. And I've always had this horrible emotional response to it where I feel shame and I feel all sorts of just really awful things, and I blame myself and I think there's something wrong with me. And this time it was like, there's nothing wrong with me. This is exactly what is right for me. This is for me. And when I had that moment, that was when I truly realized like how much I had grown through working with Yana, because I had been yearning for that moment of awareness. I had been seeking it, and our work together had allowed me to create that space. And so that moment was just like, I'll never forget that moment, literally for the rest of my life, because it was like time stood still and I just was able to just think really clearly about the truth of the situation and not jump into the whole, wait, what? You're firing me? Like I had done many times before. It was just like, oh, you're letting me go because I'm no longer serving you in this business, and you're no longer serving me. Your business is no longer serving me. It was like this mutual understanding of, yes, this is right. And just to be able to leave that situation with that much growth and maturity and love and acceptance and peace, I mean, that in itself was the biggest gift that all the work had led up to. But then it gets really interesting, because through my work with Yana, I was really able to tap into my value and my worthiness. And so I was able to look for a new job from that place. And I had never done that before. It had always been, I looked for another job through a place of, I'm going to have to settle. I'm not going to get everything I want. There's never going to be a perfect job for me. And it was just a completely different energy. I actually full on believed that I was the perfect person for a perfect job for me. I just believed in it fully. And I remember saying to you, Yana, what's the worst that can happen if I go all in on this belief? And I determined that the worst that could happen was that I maybe decide, okay, that wasn't true, and I feel crappy for a few days, and then I get over it and move on. Like, there was no reason not to go all in with that belief. And that was a really neat experience, because as soon as I committed and went all in on that belief, it was like it just happened. Like, it literally just happened. Like, the perfect job for me, every single thing I was looking for, plus all these additional bonuses that I didn't even know I needed or wanted, that I'm like, wow, what a gift. I was able to walk into that interview and just know that I came to the table with so much value and so much passion and so much, just all this stuff that I've never walked into an interview with before. Truly, a lot of intangible stuff too. You know, it wasn't about like, you know, are my skills really a fit for this job, even though they are. It was more about, is my energy, are my beliefs, is who I am a fit for this job. That was a really unique experience. And that is ultimately, I'm sure, what got me this job. And it happened very fast. It was like, after they met me, they were like, they knew just as much as I knew. And that was because of how I showed up. I know that for a fact. I wouldn't have had that experience had I not showed up believing in myself the way I had showed up. And so the job actually is for a life coach school. And I work in the office, in the virtual office for the school. But the bonus is that they only hire life coaches. So I went through their school, and I am now a certified life coach. And yeah, I could, in a million years, couldn't have asked for what I'm getting with this job and with this experience. And it's really funny. I said to Yana before, when I was looking for the job, I was like, I don't know how I don't go on to become a life coach myself, because now that I have the gift, I have got to give this back to others. Like, how do I not give this back to others? And then sure enough, a short while later, here I am as a coach. Yeah. So our work together, the most important thing, I wrote a few things down, is being in a space with someone who has been doing the work themselves. I can't even explain how much value there is in that. There's something so powerful about being in the space with someone who, you know, has experienced what you're experiencing with this work, and all of the thoughts and feelings and stuff that it brings up. Also, just this safe space of non-judgment. I didn't realize how valuable that was until I was really in that container, and just acknowledging, like, there's nobody else that I have that with. Like, any other person that I feel like I can go and talk to is giving me advice through their lens, through their manual of how they do life. That's not what I need. I needed someone to reflect my own thoughts. And then when I hear them out loud, I'm like, oh, I said that? That's not true. It's like just so funny to have that reflection process, because it's so powerful. And yet it's simple, but it's not anything that anyone else is giving you. A coach is the one that gives you that reflection process. Most people are like, oh, okay, you just said that you're not satisfied with this. Well, here's how you could be satisfied. The coach is saying, okay, what I'm hearing you say is this. Is that what you mean? Is that true? And it's like, wait, no. Oh my God. And then all of a sudden you go off in a different direction, and you realize you create your own world. You create your own reality. And that awareness for me has been so powerful. I just had a situation recently where, you know, as much work as you do, you're still a human being. And so I had a situation where, you know, somebody made me feel, you know, not great. And then I kind of worked the coaching model, and I kind of self-coached on it after, you know, a coaching call with Yana where we started it. And so Yana started the work, and then I continued the work on my own. And it's like, I have a completely different view now of this situation. I get to show up as a completely different person going forward with this situation, because I don't believe that this person made me feel anything. I believe I made me feel it, because these are actually my thoughts that I was afraid to acknowledge. And so I was projecting my thoughts onto this person, and I was using this person as someone to take the blame for how I actually am thinking about myself. And then able to be effortlessly being able to shift that. I wouldn't say effortlessly. There was a lot of crying and emotional stuff involved in that process. But the emotion, it doesn't kill me. And I had always been so afraid that if I went there with the emotions that came up, that I would never be able to get out of them, that they would ultimately just like consume me and like just kill me. And doing this work has shown me the emotion comes up, I experience it, and that's it. It's okay. It's nothing that destroys my life. In fact, now I'm inviting emotion in. And when it shows up, I'm leaning into it. That is the exact opposite way of how I had done life previously. For most of my life, I had run from the emotion. I had eaten over the emotion. I had drank over the emotion. I had curled up in bed and binge Netflix over the emotion. I didn't want to feel it. And now that I'm not afraid to feel it, it's like literal magic is happening in my life. I'm able to become the person that I believe myself to be. When I feel the emotion, I can show up more loving, more open, more curious, more confident. When I run from the emotion, I show up as insecure, unkind, reactive. And so the gift of coaching for me has been, I get to experience life almost as like I'm a completely different person. It's like I have a whole new life, and I'm so excited about it.
So thank you both so much for sharing, and for sharing parts of your stories. And I know that, like, thank you. It's a vulnerable place, and you're here, you're live, you're sharing it with my audience. And I'm so grateful, because I feel like sometimes, again, like my whole idea is I'm no one's hero. I am a teacher in many ways. Yes, I know these concepts because I have, like Jen was saying, have lived them, have worked through them myself. And yet when I feel like sometimes when I'm teaching, it's like some kind of like a pedestal of sorts that I really don't enjoy, because where the beauty of it truly lies is in the fact that I know for 1000% every single person out there is capable and deserving of a life where they are fulfilled, where they're satisfied, where they're happy, where they're able to work through their emotions, where they don't have to suffer in emotional pain, and they don't have to suffer in unworthiness and a negative relationship with themselves. And my only goal is to just light people on fire enough to know that they deserve that, to step into that container for themselves, whatever way it may look like, right? And for me to have y'all here and kind of be able to hear these words from other people basically is like, oh wait, she did it, she did it, she did it, she did it. It's so inspirational for other people, like, hey, maybe I can do this too. And it takes that pedestal away. Like, Yana's just, yeah, she's our coach, but like she's going through it, doing it. And like both of you too, the cool part is I know sometimes this isn't like a quote unquote thing that a lot of coaches do, but we have all established really great friendships too. So like you get to see the other side of me too, which is like there's a different hat that I put on when I'm coaching you. And then I even like you get to see my humanity. Like we text about other unrelated things, right? Crystal and I still go paddling together. Jen and I converse all the time in text messages about various things going on in life that have nothing to do with coaching. And you see me as I'm just a real human being doing the work, that just because I'm a couple steps ahead in this work that's available to every single person. That is the greatest gift. I can guide you through the part that you're going through. I have some tools, but let me teach them to you. And then you apply them, you use them, you do it, you change your life, right? So thank y'all for that. Kind of, I always, there's two things that I really wanted to highlight, right? This whole idea was creating lasting change. And there was two things that I wanted to highlight that I know, like the 3 essential steps. I kind of made a little guide for this and I sent it out, and it's in the guides in our Facebook community. But I really find that the essential steps, and I know that there was failing forward, and or failing forward is kind of an essential step, but really, if we had to really break it down, I think day 1, day 3, and today are like the most essential. So changing from sufficiency, finding your own value, finding your own worth, being in integrity with yourself, being in a positive relationship with yourself. Day 3, honoring all of your emotions. And then for me personally, not doing hard stuff alone, right? Not having to do life alone. There's something magical. It's like, those are kind of the parts where I feel like if I could just give those gifts to other people, like life would be amazing, life would be complete. So, but sometimes, and I think having a beautiful relationship with yourself and your self-talk and the way you treat yourself, that's a little more tangible and explainable. But Jen kind of just went into like day 3 for me is hard to explain. I'm still learning, right? I'm not perfect on like, what is honoring your emotions mean? How does this work look? What was your experience in this work? And whoever wants to go, feel free, let me know. But like, how do we actually work through that emotional part? And then also like, how did these steps relate to you creating the changes that you have in your life so far with working with me?
You want me to go first?
That's totally fine. I want to, yeah.
Okay. So Yana, you asked, how is honoring your emotions part of the work?
Yeah, like what is it? If you could describe it in your own words, I'm very curious how you would describe this work that we did. What was your experience of it like, and how does that really help you?
So I have been a feeler my whole life, and I've just not really understood a lot about what I was experiencing. I questioned a lot about why am I such a feeler? Why do I feel this so intensely? Why is this so, why do I feel what other people feel? Why do I, take on other people's feelings, all sorts of stuff. And because of that, I would run from the feelings. And just the idea of it's okay, it's neutral, right? Whatever the feeling is, even if it's a negative feeling, it's still neutral, just allowing it and then exploring it. I guess for me, one of the things that I have learned helps me explore my feelings the most is movement. And this is a tool that I learned through our work together that I had never, ever attempted or heard of before. But when I'm feeling very strongly, to move my body and to just pay attention to how the feeling and the emotion moves through my body. And so since I've started doing this, and I guess the way it looks for me too is, I usually I like to work out. I like to do a lot of different things. So it's always different on what I do. But one of the big things I've realized is just dancing. Like I just will go into my garage and I'll put music on and I'll just start dancing. And at first I'm like judging myself, and then I'm like, let it go. Okay. And then I just start letting whatever is there just kind of flow through me. And it's this really interesting experience where it's no longer scary. It's like, it's not even anything that I needed to run from or hide from. It's just part of being human. It's just a sensation, a vibration in my body, and I can handle it and I can explore it and I can ask it what it's there for and what it wants to tell me, what it wants me to learn. And sometimes it just wants me to feel it. Sometimes it's just that simple. Like I had an experience the other day where I was in my space and I was working out and I just started dancing when the song came on and I just started crying because I was just feeling it. And it was just really, just this experience of being a human being and feeling and not attaching any judgment to it, to the fact that I'm like dancing and crying at the same time would be weird that I would judge myself on in the past. And I'm not judging myself on that anymore because I'm processing. That's, as a feeler, how I've learned to process emotion. And it feels so good compared to running from the emotion and buffering over it, eating over it, drinking over it, whatever.
As you're speaking, what's really coming up for me, and like it's great because it kind of unlocked a new understanding for me, but it's utilizing your mind to allow yourself. So what thoughts can you think about this emotion rather than it shouldn't be here. I don't want to feel this way. This sucks. This feels horrible. This is a huge monster, right? Like whatever we think about that sensation, it's using our mind to take our awareness into the sensation and just allow it to be present with whatever thoughts we have to think in order for that sensation to be itself in our bodies.
Yeah.
And for you, that's exercise. For sometimes we do meditative work. Sometimes I'm interested, Crystal, one of our first sessions, I helped you find your inner Janae. Are you okay with talking about that?
Yeah, so I'm going to be bringing all that up because when we started this out this morning, I was talking about, where I'm feeling things, being more in tune with my body, which is also what Jen was bringing up.
So also, quick caveat is you're not a feeler. Like when we started working, you're very like logical minded, like, right? Like get shit done kind of gal. So different personalities, same tool, right? Just wanted to.
When I listened to the first episode of your podcast between you and your sister, that was something that came up when you were talking and she was you were describing her and her emotions and how she doesn't outwardly feel things. Okay. And so, and I'm like, that's me. I'm not outward like that. I'm more in and internalize that. And I'll sit and I'll go over and over and I'll try to rationalize. And because of, like I was saying, the job that I do in marketing, this and that, my analytical mind, the wheels just start spinning. And, when Yana started helping me figure out like, how can you start being like concrete? Like, where is that in your body, Crystal? Are you feeling that the most? Like that you are dead set on? And I'm like, it's in my stomach. You know what I mean? Like I feel that there, and it's like the only thing I can ever compare that to of someone in my life that was so sure and confident of herself was my best friend, Janae. She is that alpha female, like she knows the answers, and she's a big feeler and compassion and, with all the humility that she gives out to the world, she does that. And she's taught me a lot. And Yana reminds me a little bit of that personality. So I'm naturally drawn to people like that because that's something in myself that I have not had. And so, so for many years, by the way, I've seen that and just going, And so, like I was saying, things came up for me and then Yana was present there. And that's when I took that opportunity. And I am that person that will do that. When I see that, I'm like, there was my inner Janae at that moment that we didn't know that's what that was called, right? There's Yana. That's the person, 100%. And by the way, Jen, I didn't know Yana all that well. I just knew that there was that moment, that energy, and my inner Janae told me to go for it, contact, do this, put in the work. You're going to need this in your life. And you need that now. You're tired of the old things. That's not for you anymore, and learning that, things come into your life, a recent season or a lifetime, these things serve a purpose, one point, right? And it's time for a new thing. And so those doors has shut for me. And that was going through those dark moments of, geez Louise, looking at everything else in the world but myself and being in tune with myself. So for me, I'm someone that requires multiple things, working out, meditation, reading, consistently keeping my brain going and sharp. And this spirituality and all of this, right? I yearn for that more than anything. There was something that my soul was actually missing. It wasn't a lover, right? It isn't friends. It was to have that better connection with my higher self and start getting in tune and aligned with my body. And so Yana pointed those things out to me. And that is because, Crystal, you've got to lean into those emotions. You need to sit with that. You need to allow that to resonate and zoom out in those situations. You know what I mean? And look at that bigger picture. But don't, well, you have these two voices, you know what I mean, right? We talk about that, the one voice, it's like the angel that's like, yeah, I do. And then this one over here that can be a realist, but can also just, you can shame yourself, right? And like, so be easy on yourself, Crystal, because that's like who I was. I would beat myself up over and over. I failed. Shame you, shame you, shame you. And why am I doing that to myself? What have I failed from, really? You know what I mean? And like, how do I stop that? Where in my body am I feeling that from? Why is it coming that way? How can I retrain my brain in a different way to look at that at a more positive, enlightened way? So Yana says, Crystal, lean into that. Sit with that anger, sit with the sadness. You know what I mean? And then at the same time, when you're done leaning into those emotions, zoom out, right? And look at like, how could that have been different? You know what I mean? Or look at what you got from that. You look at how far back and to now and how you've come. That's the result. This is why you can't fail at this. You see what I'm saying? When you're at that rock bottom and you felt like that you were, and you needed to continue to emotionally, you can't fail from any of these things. I don't know how you can, to be quite honest. What is, to fail from wanting to be better? No, you can't. You can just learn different ways, right? We can just retrain ourselves to think about that differently, right? And that's it.
Can I reflect something that Crystal said that was just like, it resonated so much with me?
Sure.
Crystal, you said, my soul was missing something. It wasn't a lover. It wasn't a friend. It was a higher connection with myself.
Mhm.
I mean, that's what it is.
Yep.
That's why we were both drawn to Yana. We
Mhm.
both had that
Mhm.
we felt was missing and
Yep.
was yearning for it. Yeah.
Correct. And there she was on a paddleboard with my friend John.
Right.
That is like, if I could give one, and I think this is where the root of it really all begins, is we are spiritual beings having a human experience. I believe that without any doubt whatsoever. My faith is, I don't need proof. I don't need anyone to tell me that, right? Like, and I know that so many of us, we live in a world where you can totally not believe that and function just fine, but it's always going to feel like something's missing. Now, whether you want to ignore it, push it away, that we've gotten way far, generations far. But when you really want to make life absolutely magical, you tap into that. And that's when it all starts to glitter. It all starts to glisten. Everything starts to look a little bit brighter. It starts to feel more alive. And like, I this is something I ask on my consults, like, are you a spiritual person? Are you open to spirituality, not religion? How do you feel about that part of your life? Tell me about that category of your life. Because if you're like, no way, I don't want to go there, I'm probably not the coach for you. Let's just be honest, because I will realign you and reconnect you with that part of you 1000%. It's bound to happen if you're going to work with me. That is my superpower, right? Like I reignite souls so that the soul is like whoop in the body, like experiencing life with the body, that type of connection. It's very.
Can I add this too? And Jen, you'll probably understand this too as well. Another thing too that I had issues with was always like me saying things and not wanting to hurt people's feelings. and that's where Yana also taught me a lot through this process. You're not responsible, Crystal, for other people's feelings and emotions. You're not responsible for the things, and whether it's the ex, the friends, this, that, all the stories, all the things. You're not responsible for that. Don't do that to yourself. And that also was like the inward feeling, not wanting to be outward in that. And she helped me understand too, the responsibility of that. And then you just being responsible for your feelings and your emotions, your your thoughts become your emotions, become your actions, become your reality. And so there is that whole big part of that I struggled with for a very long time. So it's like when I say something to anybody, or it was like about me, and someone got triggered and someone came at me and was like, Crystal, I just found that like rude or inappropriate. And I literally look at them and just like, it's totally fine for you to feel that way. That's your feelings. There's something within you that triggered, that brought up. I'm not responsible for that. And that's really helped me throughout all of this in the last year to year and a half, because I struggled with that quite a lot. So I just wanted to add that as a side note.
Yana, can I add something?
Please. Yeah.
So for me, the spiritual aspect of coaching was something that I was seeking. I've grown up with religion. I have stepped away from religion because it no longer resonates. And I was looking for a way to bridge the gap. I was looking for a way to bring spirituality to the forefront of my life, to the center, but do it in a way where it wasn't done through religion. And 110%, I've been able to do that through the work we've done together. And if that is something that others are seeking, the aspect of having a coach is so powerful for that. And especially you, Yana, are the perfect coach for that, in my opinion. Also, Crystal, to what you said about becoming responsible for your own feelings. In my experience, since I've become responsible for my own feelings, I've been able to show up as a completely different person. And when I show up as a completely different person, I then impact others in a way that I could only dream of. And so becoming responsible for my own feelings, in a sense, has allowed me to impact humanity. Like literally, you work on yourself, you can go out and change the world. You can impact the world. I see it happening. I see the people in my life, just by me talking to them and showing up as, this more confident, more loving, more kind, more compassionate, more curious person. What it's doing for them, it's inspiring them to want to show up that way. It's just a ripple effect. And it all starts from our desire to do the work ourselves. It's pretty amazing.
It's also changed I don't know if it's done this for you too, Jen, but it's also changed my perspective about the people in my life. And I am noticing, certain types of energies and people coming towards me now ever than before. And, in a sense, not really cleaned house, you know what I mean? But I've reevaluated, those interactions and those friendships, those people in my life. And when I listen to them talk now, I'm just like, wow, you got some work to do. You know what I mean? You can see that in certain people. It's not my place to say that to anybody, but in my mind, my perspectives, of people around me, I've completely changed. I have leaned into that, by the way, that there were moments where I was like, that made me feel really sad, because it's like, I'm not so sure that that's someone that I need to have in my life anymore now. My journey, my spirituality is completely changed, but what I decided to do instead was share all of that. I shared all of that. And like you, Jen, people felt all of that, and people are going, you look at the result. You know what I'm saying? And they just go, Crystal, where can I get that from? What can I do? And I talk about Yana, and I continue to, the things that I'm practicing, the things that she's taught me, I continue to work on that and share it with everybody else. And I'm hoping at some point that they reach out like I did. You know what I mean? You can start to see that, but it's definitely, it has definitely changed the way that I look at a lot of people and all kinds of things in my life now, for sure, 100%, and in a much more happier, better way. And I'm always just like, I'm so excited. Like there's just a thing inside me that's like, and I'm just here. I have not had that for a long time.
Yeah.
And it freed. It actually, it'll make me cry, but it freed me from a lot of bullshit. Freed me from a lot of things. I'm
Yeah.
very, thank you. Oof, oof.
For me, I have found I am a lot less judgy of others, or I have awareness when I am judging others. And just the awareness of it allows me to choose if I want to continue holding that judgment over someone, or if I want to choose to, you know, recognize that it's a judgment and that that's not actually the truth about them. And then it just shifts everything. And I have the ability to be more kind, more loving, more aligned with who I believe myself to be through this work with Yana, for sure.
Oh gosh, you guys, I'm gonna cry. I also want to be cognizant of time, but you two have actually just demonstrated exactly what my announcement is. And there's probably already, I scheduled a post, there's probably already a post in the Facebook group. But my clients have never met each other. And I know that when I get y'all together, the power of community, right? The Yana Project, knowing that you're not doing this work alone. Like I can hear the two of you could keep on going for the next 17 hours. And it's almost time for a retreat at a camping weekend or something where we gather together and really like just relish in the work that we're all doing. And then Crystal really led into this is also some people are not ready to make that full on commitment, right? And I'll almost like ask you, you both had hesitations about making the financial investment in coaching, about jumping into a year-long container with me, and kind of the commitment to that one-on-one feel, which also I believe is so beautiful and intimate. And we really get to focus on specifically what's going on for you. You have your own spot in my calendar and your calendar every single week for an hour. You get to text me, whatever, we communicate, right? I don't coach in text, but like I'll lead you or guide you in a direction if something is coming up during the week. The one-on-one coaching container is, for me, something incredible. And it is where that true transformation can take real life, real form, because you have this sacred, like from a Kabbalistic point of view, you guys know how much I love the Kabbalah, but it says that when two souls gather together to work on a problem that only one body is experiencing, you get both of the souls, because souls are eternal, they're energetic, they connect. And you get the energy and the umph of both souls, but bodies are physical. They're in this world. They're separate by nature. I have my body, you have your body. So whatever our physical limitations may be, whatever our personal kind of down to earth struggles may be, in a container like a one-on-one coaching container, you have two souls solving for that. And the power and the energy and the dynamic, and it's really felt, and it really helps you when it's you versus you. It's like, oh, what am I going to do? Soul versus bodies. And then there's something magical that happens in this one-on-one container that's like, oh man, this is two of us. We can do this. We can do anything together, right? And it's intimate and it's tangible and it's really like absolutely beautiful. And I wanted to create a space. And it's so interesting. I was in a yoga class last night and she was talking about how we're entering the Libra full moon. And Libra season in general is all about community, communication, community, bonds, friendships. And so I am launching, we're going to start in May. And all of my one-on-one clients who coach with me privately are getting access to this absolutely for free. But we're going to start masterminding together, which means like one private Zoom call. We're going to figure out times. They might fluctuate every week, so that we can really gather together once a week. And I'm going to create this container in a way that y'all can meet each other. All of my clients could meet each other. We can support each other. It'll be another aspect where you can come get coaching if something's going on for you that maybe you would like to just see what other clients of mine are experiencing. And I have 3 clients now who are stepping into their role as coaches who haven't yet gotten their first clients, right? And so that whole essence of like, what does that look like in building my own business, right? And stepping into the coaching role, what I can't wait to do is actually bring y'all on as leaders for that week's call, for that mastermind experience, possibly coaching other people. And it's a place where we can welcome everyone who, like Crystal, you're saying, like, I have these friends, I keep telling them, come join us, come hang out, but they're not ready to make that one-on-one investment for a year. It's a place where they can come dip their toes in the water and see the power of this work, see the power of this community. And basically, it is going to be a monthly membership at an unbelievable price. And the one thing that I want to do for these kind of more intimate, personalized mastermind community calls, and sometimes you don't even have to raise your hand to get coaching. Like, you can just sit back and listen, right? That's why even if you can't make it to the live call, to watch the recordings. And I learned so much in business coaching programs and other coaching programs that I'm in, where I just watch the coaching and observe the coaching. That feeling of you are not alone is like so strong. And both of you know that 3 months is really where, like, from a psychology point of view, I don't have to explain it too much, where these shifts and these light bulbs start to go off, where you're really not doing this work alone. So for right now, it's going to be $360 for 3 months of masterminding with us. There is a monthly payment option for anyone that's interested. And then
Is that each month or in total?
$360 in total for 3 months.
Oh, that's great.
Like pennies on the dollar. Yeah. And part of my whole idea of why I'm doing this and why I want to charge such minimal fees for this work, for the gifts that you guys are describing, because we're not talking about, oh, you're getting an hour of coaching per week. No, we're talking about the results. You're getting ease in your body. You're getting the ability to feel safe and seen and witnessed. You're getting the ability to really enjoy your relationship with yourself. You're getting the ability to know how to feel and process and work through your emotions. You're getting support when you're looking for a new job. You're getting support when you're getting out and trying to date. You're getting support with your time management, right? Like, you are getting results. That is what it is. So for those types of results, $360 a month, like, are you kidding? Or I mean, for 3 months, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? And so so that is a way that also, like I said, all of my one-on-one clients, y'all are just in. You don't have to pay anything extra. Welcome. I'm so excited. I'll send you more details, more announcements. We're going to start this in May. And for anyone watching who is not sure about stepping into a one-on-one container, or like both of you at the beginning, you both were hesitant on making the financial investment to coach with me individually. What would you want to say to someone who's like on the fence because of finances, or because of stories, or because of things that we're telling ourselves on why a container like this is not going to work? It's not going to be the thing for me, whatever might come up. What would you want to say to people like who are like, ooh, that sounds cool, but.
Right. So I remember, being hesitant, and it wasn't very long, mind you. Yana, you probably remember, it wasn't very long. That hesitation didn't stay very long, because it was like, I'm investing in myself. That's what I want to tell everybody. You're investing in yourself. You know what I mean? So if money and monetary is always going to be what you look at, you're not going to get very far. Then this is the place that you will always be. So if you don't want that, and you're yearning for more, and for bigger, better, higher power of things for yourself, then don't look at the almighty dollar. It doesn't matter. You're investing in yourself, and you're going to get way more out of that than anything else in the world. So that's what I have to say about that to someone that wants to sit there and think about that, or look at it that way. And it wasn't too long after that, I think I even went, it was just like made a fake Facebook post, You know, like I'm so excited about investing in myself.
Yeah, you said, and I remember for you, the question that got you is we were on a follow-up consultation. We had our consultation. I knew you wanted to work with me, but I don't push anybody into, that's a decision you have to make for yourself, right? And I remember you were talking and you had a house you were buying and all of the stuff that was going on. And you were just like on the fence because listen, it's a financial commitment, one-on-one coaching, right? And I remember you being like, well, I don't know, let me think about it. Maybe I'll call you back in a month or two. And I'm like, yeah, that's totally fine. And then the question I asked you was, is that a decision you're absolutely happy with?
Mm-mm.
Is that a decision you absolutely love? Because my goal as your coach is to leave you in a place every single car where you have decisions you absolutely love that you're making intentionally that are of service to you.
Mhm.
And even if it's, let me call you back in a month or two, let's just help you get to a place where it's a decision you absolutely love right here, right now, while I get to be of service to you on this consultation. I don't want you to get off the consultation and 2 days later be like, shit, I really wish I signed up with her.
Right.
And that was the question that got you. And I remember you being like, okay, fine, take my card. Let's go. I'll figure it out. I'll move stuff around. I have a credit card. Like I have ways to make this work and you've made it work. And has
Yeah.
it been it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Jen, what about you?
Crystal's words of my soul was missing a higher connection with myself keep ringing in my ear. It's like so good. And I couldn't do that on my own. I could not find a higher connection with myself on my own. I had been trying for a very long time. And yes, I had made progress, but not like this, not anywhere close to this. I had done a lot of, I loved self-help, self-improvement. I explored a lot of stuff, but nothing could even compare to this. And I just had this gut feeling. I don't even know how to explain it. I just had this gut feeling that if I went all in and, made that commitment, and of course the money, for me, I've got this money story stuff. So I was like scared. I was like, oh, I don't know. But I just decided. I decided to choose myself and my potential and my desire for connecting with myself over the money fear. And I communicated that in some sense, probably not those exact words, to my husband. And it was just a matter of, he didn't really get it, but he was supportive because he saw how invested I was already, and that the financial investment just secured it, and that was it. And he made some comment about like, okay, well, if you don't get any results, then this will be the last time. Which he of course is like laughing about now, because it's like the results are like neither of us could have ever imagined. And so he now really, I can tell, believes in coaching. And he didn't, but he does now. And I think he will end up working with a coach himself because he's so inspired by what's taking place with me. It's like we had no idea what was possible. And now that we do, it's like, what else is possible? And that's exciting.
I remember that on your consult, you were like, but my husband, and I'm not sure. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I was like, of course your husband's going to be not sure. He's
Yeah.
ready to see results. Like he doesn't get it. He doesn't get the work that you're doing. He's not
Yeah.
bought in. Like you have to be bought in. You got to show up. You got to do the work. You got to get yourself results. Don't wait for him to believe in you, for you to believe in yourself. And then on the other end, like I promise you, you're going to inspire him. Of course, he's not going to get it until you show him a lot of results.
Right.
And now, like, that was what I told you were going to get the perfect job. I told you were going to up your income. I told you, right? But I told you this on our consultation consultation. And it's hard to believe, but I'm like, I know that this is all inevitable for you.
Mhm. Right.
And now you're telling me the other side of it, which is like my husband believes in coaching. And I'm like, yeah, of course he does.
Right.
That's the power of a coach. Like a coach will see that, believe in you, hold space for you. Like if you were an athlete and you're like, I can't slam dunk that ball. And I'm like, of course you can. I just need you to do a couple more practice sessions. You got this, not a problem.
Right.
And we play it down and it's not this big monster and you got this and I got you and I'll cheer you on. I'll tell you where to adjust and that's fine. But you're in that game like we started. At the end of it, let's freaking go. Your results are inevitable. That's how I work. All right, y'all. I'm going to be super respectful of time. Applications for the membership are open because I want this to truly be like a safe, secure place for everyone. I did decide to go with an application on this. So there will be a link in the Facebook group. I'm going to obviously follow up with all of you guys' messages. So if you know people that you think could really benefit from this at this type of rate and stuff, I want them to apply so we can get to know each other to make sure that everybody's a great fit. We might even do consultations and calls just to make sure that we really keep the community vibe sacred. For me, this is not about like making X amount of sales or getting a bunch of people in this membership. This is really to cultivate the space where we can truly mastermind together. And where maybe people who are not ready to invest in a year-long coaching container can start getting the taste of this work, because this work, I truly believe, like I feel like I have a solution for cancer, and like I got to scream it from the rooftops. I got to make it as easy, as accessible, as affordable, as doable as possible. So this is what my brain came up with. We're going to see how it goes for 3 months. And at the end of the day, I really think it's just going to be a continuous part of what the Yana project is. Of course, there will be things in the Facebook group. I'm going to continue doing live lessons, classes, so on and so forth. But that actual community mastermind aspect of it, the coaching element of it, the coming together with our peers element of it, the being able, I want that to be safe. And I think public forum, the free public forum just doesn't allow for that. And so a very small investment for a world of results.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I love it. I'm so excited about it, honestly. To be connected with more people doing this work is really something that I'm craving.
Right. Yeah, because we have so many people in our environment, in our lives, who are just living life, but like there's something magical about a community who is interpersonal development, who's working on themselves, who can be, and like I just can't wait as my clientele grows. Like I can't wait to watch y'all create friendships and be able to call each other. Like I have some of my best people that I've met through other coaching masterminds that I'm in, and it's like maybe I don't have a best friend that's totally into personal development. Well, y'all are both in Atlanta, so I feel like I do have a lot of best friends who are in this world right here in Atlanta. But like I just have such amazing connections, and I can't wait to reach out to them and ask them to come guest host and to come do one of the days and lead one of the circles and whatever events we end up opening up in that. Like this is just going to grow. And so I'm super excited. It's going to be so much fun.
I'm excited about it. I love this shit.
Yeah.
Love this.
Yep.
Me too.
Me
Okay,
too.
ladies. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a beautiful day. And Crystal, I'll see you on the lake tomorrow. God willing, it doesn't get rained out.
Yes, ma'am. You got it. Jen, so lovely to meet you. You have a beautiful day as well. Bye,
You
everybody.
too. So good to meet you.
But if
Bye.
you're not busy, come out. We're camping at Lake Lanier. I know weekends are sacred for you and your husband, though, but just putting it
Okay.
out there.
You put it on my radar. I'll think about it.
Okay.
Bye.
Definitely come paddle. I love this stuff. Okay. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye.
Kudos.
Bye.
Bye.